The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised. In 5, 4, 3, 2, live now.
I don't know, Mike. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, everybody. He's a macho. Now that you're listening, Mike Trash TalkingRadio.com. The best in the business. Say it to macho.
Wrestling fans throughout Radio Land, listen to Trash Talking Radio at TrashTalkingRadio.com. It's usually from 7 to 10 o'clock. Here's guys like myself, so you Gannon Giants, come on. That's my soul.
That Trash Talking Radio show from the beginning to whatever we have done is going to bring us cruise rival. Bros, see, this will never shine. The other half of the rock and wrestling tradition. That's the Johnny one and the Louie one.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ivan Cole. I'm here to tell you about Mike Talking Trash. The trash, 7 to 10. Tuesday night, you got to listen in. It's the best around, the best in town. I'm David the Animal, one after the most undertaking the world will listen to yourself. If you know it's good for you, it's the Trash Talking Radio, or hell.
Everybody, you're watching Trash Talking Radio. This is Hulk Hogan. What do you got to say about Trash Talking Radio? I gotta say that I just bought Trash Talking Radio. You're out of the picture, dude. This is my show, and you better watch because what you're gonna do, you're gonna want to expect. Trash Talking Radio. What's wild on you?
This is the Vital Idol, and you're listening to Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10 on TrashTalkingRadio.com. And remember this, Vital Idol tells you it's got to be true. And when it's on the internet, it's got to be real. It's Trash Talking Radio every Tuesday from 7 to 10. I am the top of pop, the king of swing, the international rock star way above par, the host with the most, Mr. Tuesday Night, the Vital Idol, Classy Mike Trash, and thank you very much.
It is Trash Talking Radio, and it is also Tuesday, and it also is the best night of the week. Still the best night. This has been the longest running best night ever.
20 years.
25. 25
years.
No, wait. 20. Let's see here. How many years has it been? 2000. Oh, actually 2003, so it would have been 22 years. 22 years. 22 years.
22 years, the best night of the week.
Yes, and before that, we had another night that was the best night of the week, but I wasn't part of it. And now that you're here, it's even a better night.
Well, yeah. Someone had to class up the show.
And it could be worse. I mean, I wore my green shirt right before we started, and I realized I have a green screen.
The host with the most, and the host that knows, wore his green shirt.
Yes, so I had to go change my shirt real quick. Otherwise, you'd see right through me, like you probably do anyway. Anyway,
everybody, all your audience sees right through you.
That's right. And it's a good thing, because then I don't have to hold anything back. So, how you doing? It's been a week.
Yeah. Got some bad news yesterday. I'll be in my cast until New Year's.
Oh, I thought the bad news was one of the people.
No, I tell you, my grandson acted real negatively to one of the people that had died. He's not. He said if Uso died, that would really bother him. Also, stuff.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, that shows the difference between the generations, though.
Yes.
They don't realize how much he did for the business. And whether you like him or not, whether you like the rumors or not, we're going to cover all that. We're going to cover everything. I'm going to cover the good, the bad, the ugly, just the same way I did, same way I'm going to do with someone else who's going to be on the show tonight too. So, yeah, we don't hold back. We're Trash Talking Radio. We talk about
That's right. We trash everybody as much as we can.
Well, I think I think the way I did the two out of the three that we did, I did them justice. I showed all sides, and I didn't really trash talk anybody, but I showed all sides. So I think it's important that people understand that whether you liked the one guy or not, or two of the guys or not, isn't really important. What's important is, what mark did they leave? Did they leave a good mark? Did they leave a bad mark? Did they leave both? Because in these cases, 2 out of 3 of the people have a lot of bad things as well as good things. The third person, there wasn't anything bad to say about him. He was just, I'm not saying he was an angel, but I'm saying he was, there wasn't anything that came up as controversial. So,
Mike, most people are mixed bag.
Yes.
They're good, but they're bad.
Correct. Some of them.
It's just bad people use.
And it depends on what they did that was bad. I mean, if you got a traffic ticket, that's not going to be anything earth shattering. But if you did something against another race or another type of people, not just a person, not just someone you got mad at, some neighbor, but I mean, obviously, if you killed that person, then that changes the formula a little bit. But that's a lot of we had a lot of stuff. All right, why don't we get started? I guess.
Let's go.
And I guess I'll get started with. These obituaries. You were a jazz guy, right?
I listen to jazz.
Yeah. So the first guy is a jazz guy, and he actually. Oops, what am I doing? Besides not knowing what I'm doing, hold on here. Rats, don't want to do that. I don't want to play the intro again. We actually played it successfully, sort of. All right, now let's see if we can do this right. That's the right guy. Yeah, the right guy's up. All right, good. Were you a fan of Chuck Mangione?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wasn't my favorite, but I listened to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that he was older than I thought he was. I didn't realize how old he was. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna start with him.
In this heartfelt tribute, Trash Talking Radio Show remembers the legendary Chuck Mangione, who passed away in 2025 at the age of 84. Known worldwide for his smooth flugelhorn melodies and the iconic hit, Feels So Good, Chuck's influence stretched far beyond jazz into pop culture, television, and the hearts of millions. Born in Rochester, New York, Mangione's career spanned over 6 decades, beginning with his work alongside Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers before forging his solo path in the 1970s. His Grammy-winning composition, Children of Sanchez, showcased not only his musical mastery but also his ability to craft sweeping cinematic experiences through music. Career highlights include Grammy Awards for Bolivia, 1977, and Children of Sanchez, 1979. Smash hit, Feels So Good, 1977, which became one of the most recognizable jazz fusion songs ever. Performed at the closing ceremonies of the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. Composed scores for major motion pictures and TV. Specials. Honored with a wax statue at Madame Tussauds and a key to the city in his hometown of Rochester. Fun facts. Chuck made several cameo appearances as himself on King of the Hill, often carrying his flugelhorn and cracking jokes. He was an advocate for music education and frequently returned to Eastman School of Music, where he had studied. Owned a vast collection of vintage hats and often wore his signature fedora while performing. Had a great sense of humor, often parodying his own image in interviews and animations. Personal life. Chuck was known as a gentle soul with a deep passion for music and family. He is survived by his children, several grandchildren, and a generation of musicians inspired by his legacy. He remained active in the jazz community until his final years, mentoring young talent and producing independent recordings well into his 80s. Join us in celebrating the timeless groove, joy, and emotion that Chuck Mangione gave to the world. His music truly felt so good, and it always will.
There's one. Do you have any closing thoughts about him?
Well, in the jazz community, you're not going to get too much controversy.
And you know, the thing about him
It's
is...
just been,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying it's indicative of the music. You're kind of mellow, and most of the time you're high, and it's just a mellow form of music as
Right.
compared to what we're going to talk about later in music.
Yeah, we're...
Pretty mellow.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's true. The thing I find fascinating about him was he was a famous flugelhorn player. Can you name one other flugelhorn player?
No.
I can't either. I mean, guitar
But
players, I can name.
But he made it sing pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's something when hey, how you doing? Ann just showed up. Yeah, I mean, flugelhorn players are kind of one in a million that they get a famous for playing. Not that there's only one in a million that play flugelhorn, but one in a million get, or more than one in a million, because I can't name one other one. Flugel player got to be that famous, and it was just was really interesting to me. And I knew his name. It was like, I haven't heard that name in a long time. He's probably around 70 by now. Nope. He's 84. I'm like, wow. He would have been 85 by the end of the year. So, yeah. Okay, next. This one's number one controversy. The other one's number two controversy. So I'm not saying as far as how much controversy. I'm just saying he's the number one controversial guy on this show today. No, that's not true. They're about equal, depending who you're talking to. All right, let's see. I wonder if this is automatically going to go to the next one. No, didn't do it. I made a playlist, and I thought it was just going to automatically go to the next song, or next one, so I guess I got to do it by hand. That defeats the purpose of having a playlist. That's kind of... This is the first time I tried doing it that way. All right, so we'll go to the second one. Here we go. There she is. That's our next person we're going to talk about.
Obituary, Jimmy Lee Swaggart, 1935 to 2025. Iconic televangelist, gospel musician, author, and founder of a global ministry. March 15, 1935. died July 1, 2025. Reverend Jimmy Swaggart, the influential Pentecostal preacher whose ministry reached millions across the globe, died on July 1, 2025, after suffering cardiac arrest on June 15. He was 90 years old. Born on March 15, 1935, in Faraday, Louisiana, Swaggart was raised in a deeply religious musical family, a cousin of rock and roll pioneer Jerry Lee Lewis and country star Mickey Gilley. Inspired at a young age, he delivered his first sermon at just 8 years old and began full-time ministry in 1955. He was ordained by the Assemblies of God in 1961 after his early work in oil fields and gospel music. Career highlights and achievements. Pioneering televangelism. Launched the Camp Meeting Hour radio broadcast in 1969, which grew to air on hundreds of U.S. stations within 5 years. Began his weekly television telecast in 1975, which by the mid-1980s was carried on over 500 stations, reaching nearly 2 million U.S. households weekly and hundreds of millions globally. Built Jimmy Swaggart Ministries into a multi-platform ministry valued at up to $140 to $150 million annually, including Florida's largest mail-order operation, magazine publishing, radio, and TV networks. Gospel music and awards. Released his first album, Some Golden Daybreak, in 1958 and went on to sell over 15 to 17 million gospel recordings. Earned a Grammy Award nomination in 1981 for Best Gospel Performance, Traditional, and was a multiple Dove Award finalist in the 1970s. Inducted into the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame on June 30, 2025, one day before his passing. Author and educator. Authored approximately 50 Christian books, including the Expositor's Study Bible, 38 Bible commentaries, and numerous study guides. Founded the Jimmy Swaggart Bible College in 1984, later known as World Evangelism Bible College, designed to train young pastors and gospel workers. Broadcast Network and AMP, Ministry Continuity. In 2010, launched the Sun Life Broadcasting Network, SBN, and Sun Life Radio, expanding Jimmy Swaggart Ministries globally via radio, television, and the Internet. Continued preaching at the Family Worship Center in Baton Rouge, with leadership gradually passing to his son, Donnie Swaggart, before his death. Controversies and AMP, comeback. Swaggart's meteoric rise was derailed by scandals in 1988 and 1991, involving involvement with sex workers that led to on-air confessions and his defrocking by the Assemblies of God. Despite moral and legal setbacks, he returned to ministry as an independent pastor and rebuilt a loyal following through his renewed outreach efforts. Legacy. Jimmy Swaggart's life spanned nearly 7 decades of ministry, music, and mass media pioneering, making him one of the most visible and controversial figures in modern American evangelicalism. Loved for his passionate worship style and gospel music, yet criticized for his moral failings, Swaggart embodied both the promise and perils of televangelism. He reached into millions of living rooms with a message of spiritual urgency, while his legacy remains complicated. He is survived by his wife Frances Swaggart, married for over 70 years, son Donnie, daughter Jill, grandchildren, and 9 great-grandchildren. Swaggart Bible College and the Sun Life Networks continue under his family's stewardship. Funeral arrangements. Funeral services were at the Family Worship Center Church in Baton Rouge. Public viewing/wake was Saturday, July 12th, and a celebration of life service, Sunday, July 13th. Jimmy Swaggart once said, "I didn't come to be popular, I came to make disciples." Despite the storms of scandal and decline, millions remember him as a preacher, musician, and man who devoted his life to spreading the gospel.
What are your thoughts on him?
Well, when I was a young man and just becoming a Christian, I used to follow him.
Oh, okay.
And I revered him. And until he fell with prostitutes.
Yeah.
That didn't derail me. What derailed me was that his denomination wanted to put him under discipline.
Hmm.
2-year restoration process,
Hmm.
of which he would not lead the ministry. His family, his son and his wife would lead the ministry. He could still preach, but he would have to submit his sermons to an oversight board for approval.
Hmm.
He'd have to meet with the leadership of the denomination monthly, and he rejected them
Oh.
and left the denomination and went independent.
Okay.
I lost all respect for him when he did that.
Hmm.
Anybody who did what he did should have been put under discipline. And
Right.
it wasn't a heavy discipline. You know, he would have ruled the ministry behind the scenes. So everybody knew that. It was just, he wouldn't have lost anything because he could still preach and
True.
written books and sung.
Right.
They didn't take that from him. He rejected it.
Hmm.
And that tells me that he thought he was bigger than his denominational leadership, and that's not how things work.
Okay.
You're supposed to be under authority, and he was under no authority.
Okay.
He was his own authority.
Hmm.
So it's unfortunate because I thought he was a good man. In many ways, he still is a good man.
Yeah.
He was a good man.
Yeah.
But he had failings, and it was sexual sin, and that brings down a lot of pastors.
Sure.
Sexual sin brings down a lot of Christian men. And it has been said that 55% of all pastors view pornography. And they get that from taking anonymous surveys. And it's been consistent for over 20 years that they're getting that 50 to 55 to 57 mark.
Wow.
And it's much easier today to commit adultery through pornography than it was in Swagger's day. So I can't judge them, but you know, I lost respect for him. I guess I did judge him because I lost respect for him. But
well, it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I felt the hypocrisy of that statement. So, but he taught me a lot about the gospel. I didn't agree with all his beliefs. I didn't go along with everything he said. He was a televangelist, you know, send me money and you'll be healed. And he did all that stuff.
Yeah.
But he did teach me a lot. And for that, I own who I am in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So, sad that he's gone, but you know, it may be sad for his family and some of us, but he's in glory. Even though he sinned, he is in glory. And
okay.
He doesn't want to come back for what he's seeing, what he's experiencing now. So,
well, I mean, the term, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, and he really was part of the problem. It really destroyed his Bible college, and it destroyed his ministry for a long time.
And he really worked to get it back. He worked hard to get it back. And the thing I find here's the first thing that came to mind for me was he has a son, and his son's going to continue his ministry, I would assume. But
yes.
How would you like to be his? How would you like to be his son? Where you're waiting. Come on, Dad, kick the bucket. I gotta take over this promotion. And then your dad dies at 90 or whatever it was, and your son is like 70. He's like, why didn't you die sooner so I could get it when I was younger? You know, that's the first thing I thought of. I thought that's not really nice to think of that, but that's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, but that's a very human. I hope it didn't go down like that, but I'm sure he had thoughts in his mind like that.
Yeah, I would think it did. That's the first thing I thought of, though.
Especially if Jimmy Swaggart held him back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know
that. More modern ideas, and he wanted to change things, and Jimmy wouldn't go along with it. I don't know if that's true, but I would suspect Jimmy was a very strong personality, so I would suspect it ran his way or the highway.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be the case because he seemed pretty strong about what he wanted and how he wanted to do it. I mean, I don't hate the guy. I respect what he did. Not everything he did, but the thing is, we're human. We're all going to make mistakes. It's just who finds out about your mistakes and
Well,
what mistakes you
that
make.
kind of mistake, for a minister of the gospel, that kind of mistake is pretty severe.
Yeah, it is, but he was still.
I mean, fidelity to your wife is one of the tenets of Christianity.
Sure.
It's highly, highly respected and highly valued. And to fail at that is human.
Yeah.
But it's something we shouldn't be doing.
I can't really hate him because he did a lot of good for a lot of people. And I probably respect him more because I see his flaws. The holier than thou guy, that kind of guy, I don't really have. Like my uncle, he was a holier than thou guy when he was preaching. Since then, he's not really bit. Well, I haven't seen him in 40 plus years, but I've heard that he's changed quite a bit. Actually, especially since his wife died, that broke him as a man, which makes me feel sorry for him. So, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's yeah. I mean, I can't believe he lived that long. That was a long time to be out there doing his duty. Almost 90. Well, it was 90 years.
We lost another great Christian preacher, MacArthur.
How long ago?
You may not know him.
I don't.
He is a fundamentalist preacher who said things like gays are going to hell.
Oh, okay.
And told the that they could not be preachers nor teachers in the church. And a few other things that I totally disagree with.
Yeah.
However, I have all his commentaries in my bookshelf behind me.
Oh.
He was a great Bible teacher.
Okay.
Although, again, I didn't agree with everything he said. If I want to find out what the Bible is really saying, I go to his. I use him as a baseline.
Okay.
And then overlook some of his opinions that I don't share.
Sure.
So his sins are not out in the open. Nobody knows if he sinned or not. He was pretty clean. He was a great man too.
What was his name?
He was known John MacArthur.
MacArthur.
He was on Larry King Live all the time and argued with Larry all the time. On 9/11, he was on a panel, and he was outnumbered by 3 other pastors on his beliefs of why it happened. He believed that we were an evil nation going down a wrong path, and it was God's judgment. Right?
What do you think?
I did not hold that position. I just believe that there's evil people in the world, and they decided to attack us.
Yeah.
And my question was, and the question of Larry King was, why do bad things happen to good people? And my response to that is, well, according to the Bible, none of us are really good, not in God's sense of good. And so, why do good things happen at all to us?
And
but that's not what most people are. Most people they can't understand why the righteous suffer.
Right.
And bad people seem to live in luxury and peace and quiet.
That's the view of it, but I can't think that that's much more than a view, because bad people are, bad things happen to everybody, and
across the board.
yeah, I don't think that it's targeted at one person or another, unless you believe that there's a guy with a pointy tail and red suit and pointing things that, to make things happen. I think that sometimes we ask for it, sometimes it just happens. I mean, if you're driving down the street and someone runs into you, you're probably not asking for it. But, if you're doing something that could get you in trouble,
You know the old saying that stuff happens?
Yeah.
Life happens.
Yeah.
And, I've been at many bedsides where the family's crying and said, Aunt Susie or Grandma Martha never did anything wrong.
Right.
Why is she suffering like this?
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to hear, because there's really, the answer is 25 years before I should have taught them what is happening in the world instead of waiting until the crisis moment.
Yeah.
Because you can't explain it then.
I mean, how do you explain when you probably don't know what happened at Hershey yesterday or the day before, but
a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Fell off a ride and died.
No, she drowned.
Drowned.
She was on the water wave thing, and they can't explain what happened because they have like 12 lifeguards and no one caught it. That's sad. Why would a girl like that, who probably hasn't even had time to really do anything, why would they?
Good or bad.
And things like that really are really hard to explain or understand.
And there's no explanation for it. It's the ministry of presence. When you go run into that type of situation, you're just
right.
Because most people are very angry at God at that point.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I was when Pam got sick, because she was one of the sweetest people I ever met, and I can't understand what happened there, because if there were anybody of the two of us that should have gotten something happening, it wouldn't have been her. In
all my disaster work, you just show up and you hold their hand.
Yep.
And you listen to their story, and you ask them if they would like prayer, and the prayer needs to just be that God would console them.
Right.
And
that's
all you can do, Mike.
That was one thing that
can't explain the unexplainable.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that really turned me off to religion was that whole situation with her. Because I couldn't understand why a person like her would have been through what she went through, because she was one of the nicest people I ever met, and I never felt that I even deserved someone like her, because she was just, she had her moments when she was never unhappy. She was just a wonderful person, and to put her through that for 12 years, that just really, and people would say, "Oh, I'm going to pray for her." What are you going to pray for her for? And all those prayers, all those people. We had our prayer group. All those people prayed for her. Nothing happened. Nothing. I prayed for her every night, and every day, several times a day. I still talk to her from time to time, but it's like that prayer didn't do anything. So when you say you're going to pray for me, say your prayers. I don't believe in prayer. I believe that what is supposed to happen happens, and it may not be to our liking, but it's whatever's supposed to happen happens. I don't think your prayers make a difference whether God decides to take that guy or girl. I don't believe that's a situation that's going to happen. Hey, Michael Paul, I haven't seen you in years. Good to see you. But that's just my opinion of it, And it's not that I don't believe, but I don't believe in prayer. So I don't.
Well, Mike, you have a good reason not to believe in prayer. I struggle with prayer. I struggle with prayer because I believe God is sovereign and He has a plan, and I don't understand the plan, and I don't like the
Right.
plan all the time.
Yes, that's where I'm at.
But
Yes.
I struggle with prayer too because I know that I can't change His plan.
Right. That's exactly. Well, I feel
I
that.
pray because I need to change my attitude.
Well,
That's
see,
what
that's
I-
different. That's different because you're praying for you because that's internal and that's something you're going to listen to. You're going to say, "Oh, okay." You'll hear your prayer to whatever deity you're. I know which deity you do, but I'm saying for the masses. But hopefully, it sticks in your head, and you make that change, and boom, we're good. So, all right.
You know, I got bad news yesterday. Now, compared to Pam, this is nothing.
Okay.
But I'm going to be in my booth and a phone stimulator at least to New Year's.
Jeez.
And I can't go to the gym. I can't walk anywhere. I'm not supposed to be off my foot all the time. You know, and it's depressing.
Yeah.
So I pray to change my attitude because
Right.
now when I think about what Pam went through, I have nothing to complain about. You know what? It's kind of ignorant and slap in your face for me to even be complaining.
Oh no.
So that's how I have to look at it. Other people have worse than me, and
Right.
I need to just suck it up.
And that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I'm at too. I mean, I try to think about the whole situation, the situation as a whole. Like for instance, the situation where I was scammed twice in that 1 month. Boy, that was really difficult to deal with. But I just was trying to keep my head straight the whole time because I could have said, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I'm going to be destroyed." And the realism was it was going to end at some point, and I did all the things I had to do to straighten it out, and it took a lot longer than I wanted it to, but it's all done. And I had nothing to complain about because there were people dying around me. There were people that were going bankrupt around me. There were people that were scammed for every penny that they had that they didn't get back. And I just kept the realism and kept thinking about, okay, yeah, this is horrible, but the truth is it's going to end, and I'm not going to be destroyed after this. So, and that's what happened so far. So, as far as I know. All right. Well, the next one is the one that's closest to me. That one was closest to you, I would guess, of the three. This one's the one that was closest to me. This person was a guest on the show twice, and I don't know how to really.
Yo, Maniac, this is Hulk Hogan, the greatest of all time. You're listening to Trash Talking Radio, TrashTalkingRadio.com.
A tribute to the immortal Hulk Hogan, Terry Gene Bollea, 1953 to 2025. Born August 11, 1953. Died July 24, 2025. With heavy hearts, we say goodbye to a true icon, Terry Gene Bollea, better known to the world as Hulk Hogan, who passed away on July 24, 2025, at the age of 71 in Clearwater, Florida. As a lifelong Hulkamaniac, I can say without hesitation that the Hulkster was more than a wrestler. He was a larger-than-life hero whose charisma, strength, and heart inspired millions. From the squared circle to the silver screen, from music to business ventures, Hogan's legacy is as vibrant as his signature red and yellow bandana. Let's celebrate the incredible life of the man who made us all believe in the power of training, prayers, and vitamins. The rise of Hulkamania, wrestling achievements. Born on August 11, 1953, in Augusta, Georgia, and raised in Tampa, Florida, Terry Bollea transformed professional wrestling into a global phenomenon. Bursting onto the scene in 1977, he adopted the name Hulk Hogan in 1979. inspired by his massive physique and a chance meeting with Lou Ferrigno, star of The Incredible Hulk. When he joined the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, now WWE, in 1983, Hulkamania was born, and the world would never be the same. Hogan's larger-than-life persona, complete with his iconic horseshoe mustache, bandana, and 24-inch pythons, made him the face of the 1980s wrestling boom. He headlined 8 of the first 9 WrestleManias, including the inaugural event in 1985 alongside Mr. T, where they defeated Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. His legendary body slam of the 520-pound Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 in 1987 before 93,173 fans at the Pontiac Silverdome remains one of wrestling's most iconic moments. Hogan's accolades are unmatched, a 6-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, with his first reign lasting 1,474 days, the second longest in history at the time. He was the first to win the Royal Rumble back-to-back in 1990 and 1991. In World Championship Wrestling, WCW, he won 6 more world titles and reinvented himself as the villainous Hollywood Hogan, leading the groundbreaking New World Order, NWO, alongside Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. The NWO's formation in 1996 sparked the Monday Night Wars, propelling WCW to an 18-month ratings victory over WWE. Hogan's 2002 return to WWE culminated in an epic clash with The Rock at WrestleMania 18, a match that electrified fans and passed the torch to a new generation. Beyond WWE and WCW, Hogan competed in the American Wrestling Association, AWA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and JPW, where he won the original IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, TNA. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame twice, in 2005 as an individual and in 2020 as part of the NWA. The International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame honored him in 2021, cementing his status as the most famous wrestler. Beyond the ring, the pop culture titan Hogan's charisma transcended wrestling, making him a household name. His acting career began with memorable roles in Succulents and Rocket Crew, when he set first step into intensive care with enthusiastic performance. He starred in films like No Holds Barred, Suburban Commander, 1991, Mr. Lincoln, 1993, and Samuel with Muscles, 1996, bringing his larger-than-life energy to the big screen. His TV roles include Member of Paradise, 1994, appearances on the and voice Chicken. In 1985, he co-hosted Saturday Night Live with Mr. T and his animated series Hulk Hogan's World, Wrestling Kingdom in 2005 and 2007, Hogan invited his uncles to PH Montreal and showed Hogan at his events, showcasing the life of his family. Requested ceremony for Make-A-Wish Foundation during his wedding, and granted countless wishes to children worldwide. Most notably Ruckus, a popular band from the Tampa Bay area. In 1995, his wrestling group band released Hogan, which hit number 12 in the Billboard Pop Hit 100 chart. Even in his later years, he struck his bass as a self-described beach bum in Clearwater, chilling with his chihuahuas. His adventurous intellectual Hogan's entrepreneurial spirit shone through in his business ventures. In 2024, he launched Real American Beer, a light-beer brand celebrated with many artists. He also opened a Hulkamania shop, offering merchandise to his legion of fans. Further, he owned restaurants and bars in New York, reflecting his love for the In April 2025, he partnered with Eric Bischoff to launch the Real American Freestyle Wrestling League, securing a takeover deal with Fox Nation just weeks before his passing. A passionate collector, Hogan amassed an impressive array of items reflecting his vibrant personality. He owned a collection of classic cars, motorcycles, and wrestling memorabilia, including his iconic red and yellow ring gear and championship helmets. His wealth and music extended to his collection of guitars, which he cherished as a nod to his love for band old days. Friends noted his penchant for vintage bandanas, a signature accessory that became synonymous with that name. Challenges and resilience. Hogan's life wasn't without setbacks. His 2007 divorce from his first wife, Linda, was a financial and emotional blow, costing him 7% of their liquid assets and $3 million in cash. The cancellation of Hogan Knows Best and personal struggles led him to a dark moment, but a call from Layla Allen, his co-host on American Gladiators, 2008, inspired him to persevere. In 2015, a late 2007 reporting of Hogan using racial slurs led to his temporary removal from the WWE Hall of Fame. He apologized sincerely, acknowledged his mistake, and seeking forgiveness. Reinstated in 2018, he worked to rebuild trust with fans and players, proving his resilience. His $31 million settlement from a privacy lawsuit against Gawker after they published the 2007 sex tape marked a legal victory but also highlighted his turbulent personality. Despite these challenges, Hogan's ability to rise above adversity never ended comebacks. Family and personal life. Hogan's family was dependent. He was married 3 times, first to Linda Claridge from 1983 to 2009, with whom he had 2 children, Brooke and Nick. His second marriage to Jennifer McDaniel lasted from 2010 to 2021. In 2023, he wed Sky Daly in a private ceremony in Clearwater, Florida, and they remained together until his passing. Hogan is survived by Sky, Brooke, and Nick, who carried forward his legacy. His older brother, Alan, passed away in 1986. Hogan's heritage, Italian, Panamanian, Scottish, and French, reflected his diverse roots. Growing up in Tampa, he was a star of the big picture until an elbow injury that forced him to end his baseball career. He found solace in wrestling, idolizing Dusty Rhodes and superstar Hulk Hogan. His showmanship, inherited from his dance teacher mother, Ruth, shone through in every promo he performs. Interesting facts and lasting legacy. Hogan's life was full of fascinating tidbits. He claimed Elvis Presley was a fan, though Elvis died shortly after Hogan's first match. He once said he wrestled 400 days a year, due to time zone differences in Japan, a classic Hogan exaggeration that added to his myths. His friendship with Donald Trump, dating back to his WrestleMania, and the Trump Plaza, culminated in a rousing speech at the 2024 Republican National Convention, where he ripped off his shirt to reveal a Trump shirt, shouting, "Let Trump be America great again." Hogan's physical proof was immense, his tail going backward with arthritis, and body scarred from years of smiles. Yet, he remained a beacon of positivity, urging fans to be true to yourself, true to your country, be a real American. His final months were marked by health challenges, including neck and back surgeries, but he faced them with the same grit that defined his career. Terry Bollea, the man behind Hulk Hogan, was a complex hero, a flawed human who became a superhuman icon. He taught us to believe in ourselves, to fight through adversity, and to flex our pythons with pride. That millennium will live forever, brother, in the hearts of fans worldwide. Rest in peace, Hulkster. Your legend is truly immortal.
You're fans of all early greatest of all time. You're listening to Trash on the Radio. TrashOnTheRadio.com.
You know, when I did this last night, I was finishing it up, and I swore I had all the volumes set right. But it seems that about halfway through, it didn't seem so. Oh, now I gotta go in and fix that. That's one thing about doing these things, you never know. Because I was trying to get everything done, and oh. So there's he wasn't my hero, but certainly he was he was a good part of my show. So I appreciated him more after he was on the show than before. And all that stuff happened when I had him on the show. It was right around when he had Hogan Knows Best, and things on the show, I thought, man, that acting seems pretty good. They seem to be really mad at each other. Who knew that was going to lead to the divorce? You know, the first divorce anyway. So the second divorce, that was really crazy. But he found somebody and the wife that he had at the end was only married a little over a year. So yeah, makes me sad. But I did this picture on let's see, which one did I use? I think I used Copilot to do that picture. I wanted all the different Hogans that were, different times of his generation, and I got 3 that were the same. So I thought I'm just going to use that.
He spent a fortune on T-shirts.
Yeah, I think he was. That's probably why he didn't have any money left. Then the fact that his wife got all of his money. The first wife got tons of money. She got, I think they had $15 million worth of assets at that point. And he wouldn't sign off on just a regular divorce. He signed, because she wanted 50% of his income for the rest of his life. And he wouldn't sign off on that. So he gave her 70% of everything that they had, assets and everything. And so she got, I think they had 4 houses. She got 3 of the houses. She got so much stuff. She ended up with like $15 million worth of stuff. But the joke was on her because he ended up with like $30 million at the end. So he knew his name was worth something. He wasn't going to give that all to her. So anyway, it makes me sad. But anyway, all right, next thing. Let's get this thing going.
He was controversial.
Hold on, let me get out of this. What'd you say?
He did have a controversial birthday.
Oh yeah. Oh no, he was not he was not the most ethical person in the world. I mean, he lied for a living. I mean, most wrestlers lie for a living. That's what they do. They work you. And so he stayed true to that. But the sad part is that, he wasn't that horrible of a person. I'll tell you why. Ric Flair, if I wanted to have him on my show, it would cost me between $5,000 and $10,000. Hogan was on my show for free twice, and he could have demanded a lot of money. People didn't believe me that I didn't pay him, but I didn't pay him. And, and it also helps that I was in the wrestling business, and I interviewed a lot of his friends. Interviewed Bruce Beefcake and Mouth of the South and Brian Blair and all that, so they all could, speak for me, saying that, that I'm a good guy. But the fact that he did those for free, that was cool. And I feel bad that he had when he died, his daughter wasn't speaking to him. So that's one thing about holding grudges, man. You got to be careful. Don't hold grudges, because something like that happens. She never got to say goodbye. I can relate to that. But anyway, so there we go. We got that stuff out of the way. I gotta put this up. Okay. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We only have 8 birthdays. of which you should know most of these. But
Well, we'll see, Mike. I don't bat very well in this game.
These are all people that I think you'll recognize. First one, Matt LeBlanc.
No.
Did you watch Friends?
Oh, him.
He's
okay.
Joey.
Joey. 55.
You're close. He's 58. After Friends, he had a bunch of different shows, but my favorite thing that he did after Friends was there's a show that was started in England called Top Gear, and he was the English host for Top Gear for the U.S. version. And actually, wait, maybe that wasn't. No, that was for the England version. Yeah, he co-hosted like once or twice. He was on the show, and then when they fired the three main hosts, they brought him in as a replacement, and it was pretty cool. All right, next one, J-Lo.
Yes, J-Lo. J-Lo is 58.
56. Yeah, you're batting 100 now. This one's going to be a little tougher. I think you might not recognize her name. You might recognize her face. And if you don't recognize her face, you probably don't know who she is. Rose Byrne. She's been in a lot of things, but I think, honestly, I didn't expect you to know her. That's the one I guessed you wouldn't know. She is 46. Next, Wonder Woman. Linda Carter.
78.
Close, 74. All right. Robert Hayes. I know you don't know the name, but you probably do know the person. He was in Airplane.
Okay. He is, I'm going to say, if he was in Airplane, then he's got to be in his 70s or early
80s. First price was right, possibly. 70 what?
77.
78. And this guy, you probably won't know his name, but I think because I know you might know of who he is. Will Wheaton.
Oh, yes.
You do know him by name.
Oh, I know Will. And Will is probably 52 now.
You're really close. You're really close because I had for some reason I think of him as I know that's been off the air for 40 years, but for some reason I was thinking, oh, he's got to be 25. I wasn't even close. 53. And lastly, I don't know if you know her or not. I didn't know her, but I don't know country music. Martina McBride.
No, I don't know.
Okay, she's 59. So, hey, you did good today.
I did good.
I told you you'd probably know most of them.
I knew some people this time.
Yeah, I figured you would know them because most of those people were. I went through and there weren't really a lot of people that I would have put on the list because there are a lot of people I didn't even know. So, this is a good week for you. All right, that's out of the way. And then the Hogan thing, I'm going to redo the audio. I don't know what like I said, I made a short clip of that music, and then I had to adjust the volume of it, and I adjusted it for the first, apparently, 3 times it was used. And I thought I adjusted it for all because if I looked at it, and I listened to it partially, I should have listened to the whole thing, and it sounded good. Like the first half sounded good. So, oh well. All right. Well, like we said earlier, Hulk Hogan died. He died of a cardiac arrest. He'd had a lot of health issues in his past. Well, probably from I'd say about 60 on, he had all kinds of health issues. He had supposedly like he said he had like 12 or 14 back surgeries. And the the thing I had is probably not really accurate because they said he was 6'7". I don't think he was 6'7". I think he was close to 6'5" though. But one thing that brings up is we may have talked about this in the past, and I don't remember if we did or not. But did we ever talk about how pro wrestling got started?
No,
Okay, it was in the circus.
I don't remember.
Okay, it was in the circus. It started as like a strongman competition. Then it started out when they say that someone that he got worked or things like that. The reason they say that, let me bring this up here. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Oh, the other way. Okay, so basically it's a story-driven entertainment format now. It wasn't then. Back in the origins, the thing says that modern pro wrestling evolved from catch wrestling, sometimes called as Catch as Catch Can. Actually, I wanted to name the school Catch as Catch Can, and no one else agreed with me. But catch wrestling became a fixture in traveling carnivals, which rose in popularity in the 20th century. Carnival workers began fixing matches to reduce injuries and earn money from ignorant fans, whom they called marks. Over time, wrestlers and promoters integrated elements from boxing, theater, Greco-Roman wrestling in the style they call slam bam Western style wrestling. The new style was a hit, propelling wrestling from the fairgrounds to the larger arenas. Lucha Libre, you've probably heard that term, was growing in Mexico too. By the 1930s, it was named Lucha Libre, which featured high-flying acrobatics, elaborate choreography, and affinity for masked heroes. If you pull the mask off a Lucha Libre wrestler, it's a disgraceful thing to that Lucha Libre wrestler, and so it's kind of like they value that mask so much. And they're like superheroes. They had movies and stuff that they would feature the Lucha Libre guys in as their superheroes and stuff. So they would have TV shows and stuff and movies. Mil Mascaras, who was somebody I watched as a kid, they had all kinds of movies and TV shows. They were all centered around him in Mexico. During the 1940s, regional wrestling organizations like the AWA, the NWA, and the WWF formed. The WWF was in the Northeast. AWA was mostly in the Midwest, and then NWA was a big function, which was southern on over to California, and AWA was like kind of northern California, but from about I would say Minnesota to California, and nobody would go into anybody else's territory. Like if you were a wrestler, you could wrestle in different territories, but you had to commit if you wanted to win matches. You had to commit some period of time, and then you had to worry about people coming into your territory and then screw jobbing you, and really they were supposed to do the job, and they would end up that there were guys called hookers, and the hooker is a guy that really knows how to wrestle and not professional, just like amateur wrestle. And those guys would go in, and like each organization had their guys that did the hooking, and these were the guys that were the protectors of the territory most of the time. And so what you would do is if you felt that somebody was coming in your territory, if they were to screw you over and try to take your belt. Like Superstar Billy Graham said that he was afraid of those guys because he wasn't really a wrestler. There's the preach what they're going to do while they're and they over. And be careful. And if they found it, throw them down and take them. Superstar Billy Graham said he used to keep a box cutter in his boot. So if anybody tried to hook him, you couldn't trust anyone. And but it's when Vince McMahon came along and he got the promotion from his dad, he bought the promotion from his dad. He had a grand plan of making it bigger and taking over the world. And as you could see, he actually did that. So it was it was interesting to see that how it's evolved to what it is now. I mean, back then it was in carnivals. Then it was in dark, smoky arenas and stuff, little arenas. Then it got bigger arenas, and now it's these super big baseball and football and stadiums and stuff. And now you see a lot more than you would ever see when we were kids. So I just found it really interesting, the fact that that the evolution of this sport became what it did and became as big as it did. People used to make fun of me all the time because I liked wrestling. In fact, I think you might have been one of those guys at one point.
Probably would.
And I used to defend it like crazy. But, I really enjoy I really enjoy the theatrical aspect of it. And, I became just out of wanting to be so bad, I wanted to be in it. When I was 16, I had a choice. Actually, when I was 20, I had a choice. 20, 22. But yeah, I was 20, decided to after it and determined to be part of the music industry instead of wrestling industry, because I felt that was a lot better, because you usually don't have people coming after you with a chair. So, not very often anyway. So, I mean, I really appreciate where it came from, and it's interesting to see where it is today, because it's a lot further than it ever was back then. And to think that it came from, they would originally put like a guy in the ring and in the circus or the carnival, and they would bring they would set up the match where nobody would. They had to be careful, because you're talking about not knowing how it was going to go. They would have a guy in the ring who they would have a big guy in the ring, and then a little guy would come in and he would beat that big guy. And then you think, wow, that little guy beat that big guy. And then they get more guys to come in the ring that part would be set up. And you say, oh, I could beat that little guy. And that little guy would be out there, and he would be a hooker, and he would be able to hook you and make you submit. So it's funny. It's funny how that all turned into what it is today. So, yeah. That's the end of my pro wrestling thing. I wanted to talk a little bit about where it came from, because a lot of people
Thanks for sharing.
A lot of people don't realize that it was that big, or how it got that big, I should say. And
well, McMahon got it that big.
Yeah, he did. He had a vision, and he really upset the apple cart, because there were so many promoters that were upset, because not only what he did was, so he'd have his promotion going, and he'd say, I'm going to take over this territory next. I'm going to go to California, and I'm going to take over that territory. And out of nowhere, he'd have this arena book, and all the people that were used to wrestling in California would say, well, wait a minute, you can't come in here and do this. Well, what he did was he'd go in there and he would raid the locker room. He knew who the wrestlers were for that area, and he would book those wrestlers for that area. So Ray Stevens was one of the people he took from California, and he would hire that guy to join the WWF at that point. And he would take a couple of wrestlers from there, and then he would run in that area because they already know them, and he'd bring his guys along with that, which they didn't know, and he would make stars out of them. And he would do that in every territory. He would go in Minnesota and take Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan and all them other people, and then make his own promotion out of that. And people would, know the people that worked there before, and then he'd introduce them to the other people. So that's how it all worked out, and that's how he grew into a monster. I mean, it took him a long time. He almost lost everything on WrestleMania. His first WrestleMania, he actually mortgaged his house, and used that money to spend on WrestleMania. And had he not made money, we would never see the WWE. But he was lucky enough or good enough that he was able to pull that off and made money off of that and funded his next pay-per-view. Or pay-per-view back then wasn't what it is today. That's back when the pay-per-view, you'd have to go somewhere and watch it on a big screen. So I think it wasn't until like 2 or 3 that, no, it's probably WrestleMania 5 before cable started doing the pay-per-views. So, yeah, he had a lot of guts to do that, and nobody else was going to do that because it was definitely scary. So, all right, enough of it. Representative George Santos begins his federal prison sentence.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Yeah. So, what was it that he did?
Lied on his resume, lied face to face with people, lied to get elected, lied in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Well, it sure took him long enough to catch up to him.
Well, nobody prosecuted him until it was lying on your resume doesn't elicit a charge. It's when you lie or raise, that's when it gets
okay.
sticky.
Well, I'm glad that he was caught and thrown in jail then. Okay, now what did I raise that? Oh, there we go. Because he was working in politics for a while, right?
No, he was relatively new.
Was he? Okay. I guess he was just in the news a lot, so
he was in the news a lot.
Yeah. So, how long is he going to be in jail?
I don't know. 7 years is what comes to mind, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. That's right. That's what it says. To begin more than 7-year sentence after pleading guilty to a series of fraudulent schemes. Well, good. Well, congratulations, you got free room and board. Wow. The original lightsaber that Darth Vader used is going up for auction in September. What do you think it'll go for?
$256,000.
Okay, that's a good number. They say up to $3 million. There are people that have too much money.
Yeah, they do.
I can't imagine. Yeah, that's what. Here it is. Could be yours for $3 million. I can't even. I mean, because it's not going to do what it did on the stage, because it was all special effects. All you're going to get is this. All you're going to get is this this thing here, because that isn't. You don't actually get a saber, and somebody's going to. I mean, I guess they're going to know that, but I mean, that's just really weird. Oh, people have too much money. All right, so speaking of jail, which I was, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes.
So she went to jail
for 20 years.
She worked for wait a minute here. I want to make sure I say this right. So she filed for the Supreme Court brief appealing the Epstein conviction. She pressed ahead with an appeal to the Supreme Court seeking to overturn her conviction on the grounds that she was unlawfully prosecuted for sex trafficking minors for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, so she helped supposedly sex traffic. Is that the way I read it?
She was Epstein's right-hand man.
Okay.
Or right-hand woman.
Okay.
She supposedly set up most of the liaisons. She set up most of the underage women.
So she has been in jail since 2022. So she's been in jail approximately 3 years.
She's asking Trump for a pardon or a commutation because she spoke to federal prosecutors and spilled the beans, supposedly.
Oh, okay. So that's her reasoning. It's because she helped convict him. Correct?
Well, she was convicted, and he was going to be convicted. Well, he was convicted.
He was convicted, yeah.
But they never had answers. There's supposed to be a list somewhere, and everyone thought that the FBI had the book of themes.
Okay.
And peculiarities that they enjoyed. And the FBI doesn't have it.
Oh.
So the only one that knows it is her.
Okay.
And so the FBI went and interviewed her in the last 2 weeks. And supposedly she spilled the beans.
Wow.
In hope that she would get a pardon or a commutation sentence.
Wow. Okay. You think she should?
So it hasn't been revealed. Well, if she spilled the beans, I could see them chopping some off her sentence. But giving her a full pardon for what she did with underage women, no.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is there's a lot of people that do not want that list to come out.
Okay.
Because some highly known people are probably on the list.
Huh. Somebody that maybe runs a country or two?
Yeah. Yeah. He's the prime. President Clinton is the prime person everybody suspects. But who knows?
Yeah.
You know, the list has got to come out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to think about it because I can't fathom the mindset.
See, some people don't care at all. You know, we talked about this last week. Some people don't care at all. And other people care so much they're ready to turn their back on President Trump if he doesn't release it.
Hmm.
So his MAGA base is very angry with him
Yeah.
because nothing's come out. By the way, they may have found the missing minute in Jeffrey Epstein's tape
Oh,
of when the night he was killed. There may be that missing minute
do you think he
still
was?
around.
Do you think he was killed and not killed himself?
I don't know what to think, Mike. I want to see the tape, the full tape of his hallway, to see if anybody went in.
There's got to be a reason that we haven't seen it yet. There's got to be. You have to think that there's somebody didn't need to be seen because of what was done, and you know that's
Well,
all.
here's my thinking. If Epstein was killed for it, why wasn't Giselle killed for it too?
Well,
She's got to know as much as Epstein does.
Yeah, but he was in one place and easier to get to. I don't know either. It'll come out in the movie of the week after we're dead.
Well, the Clintons have been. This is not the first time the Clintons have been accused of having somebody killed. So
Yeah. You think it was them? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know either. I just think it's weird that I that's so far out of my understanding. Yeah, it's so weird because I can't fathom any of that. I don't know.
Well, it's the underage girls that really have me upset.
Yeah, me too. Because that's there's no reason for that. All right. Last.
Get a 20-year-old who dresses like a 12-year-old. You know.
Yeah.
Don't get a 12-year-old.
All right. Fantastic Four. First steps. Rockets do solid $118 million in the U.S. $218 million globally. Performance needed to win for Fiji or whatever his name. Marvel Studios, a string of misses, except for the Green movie. So that looks like it came out pretty good. That's pretty strong, especially for this time. A couple years ago, that would have been even before COVID, that would have been considered a success. So that looks good. And it says here, and virtually par with the recent 220 million debut of Superman. We want to go see that. That'll be a good movie. So that's a good sign for theaters. What was the last movie you went to see?
The Chosen.
Okay. All right. You're looking at
Before that, I couldn't tell you. Oh yeah, what was it? It was a kids movie. I went to see a kids movie with my grandson. What was it? I can't remember. But I've gone to see movies with him.
Okay.
But
Well,
the last time Patty and I went to see a movie, I can't tell you how long that's been.
last one I went to see, it was about 2 months ago. No, it had to be 3 months ago because it was before the whole thing with the scammer. Used to go every week. Used to go to see 2 to 3 movies a week, but I haven't really done that a lot since COVID and all that stuff. I kind of got out of the habit. And I used to go mostly because of the show. I like to talk about movies all the time, but it's been a long time since I've done that. Let's see what this is. This is the box office. Oh, that's the same one. That's not what I wanted. Or did I? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Fantastic Four was the number 1. Number 2 was Superman. Jurassic Park was number 3. F1 the movie. That's the one with Brad Pitt. That was supposed to be pretty good. Smurfs. I didn't even know there was a new Smurfs out. Huh. All right. Well, I now know that. Very cool. All right. The floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Well, I'm going to do something kind of.
Yes, that's Destination
I
Fun.
want you. 5 music legends who wrote hit songs that they didn't sing.
Wow.
Did you know that Prince wrote one?
Prince wrote one?
He wrote Manic Monday. That was sung by the Bangles.
Prince wrote that one?
Yes.
Huh. I didn't know that. Huh.
Oh, this is for old timers. Willie Nelson wrote Crazy, sung by Patsy Cline.
Okay.
But guess who wrote I Am a Believer, sung by the Monkees?
I should know this, but I'm coming up blank. I don't know who.
Neil Diamond.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense because that's his style of writing. Because the Monkees really didn't. The Monkees were not really musicians when they came in. They were, I mean, I guess they were somewhat musicians. Nesmith was definitely a musician. Actually, I saw Nesmith in 2019 or 2020. I think it was. Oh wait a minute. It was probably 2020. He was in Phoenixville, and his son was playing guitar for him. It was funny because his son came out, and I thought, oh, there he is. I thought, wow, he didn't age at all. And then Nesmith came out, and I thought, oh, okay, that's why, because his dad came out and looked, 20 years older. So, but he was actually pretty interesting. He did a lot of country and stuff. But yeah, it's weird because there's a lot of bands that don't write their own music, especially ones that remake people's stuff. It was funny to see Def Leppard came out with a tribute album, and they did Bowie's song. They did all these people's songs that you wouldn't have expected them to do. It was kind of interesting. But okay, so who else do you got?
I got one more here. Do you remember Come and Get It?
Wait.
My Badfinger?
Oh yeah, that was done by McCartney or Lennon, I forget.
Yeah,
by
McCartney.
They were that was a big project of Lennon and McCartney. They had that album. They had the Apple Records, and that was one of the first bands that they took under their wing. And actually, Badfinger did some really good songs, but I don't think they wrote any of their songs. So I might be wrong about that, but yeah, there are quite a few. Well, look at Led Zeppelin. I would say 80% of Led Zeppelin songs were blues songs that they stole from black artists. So, there were a lot of bands that did that. In fact, even Elvis didn't write his songs. Elvis stole all of the songs from the black black culture that he was living in. He was living in the ghetto, and he would walk by and hear these songs and say, "Wow!" And then he'd stop in some of these bars and stuff and hear these guys playing these songs and basically steal their songs. So there were a lot of big artists that did that. Take a look at there's a bunch of I think it was I think Guns N' Roses, was that the one? One of those guys, one of those heavy bands, actually probably more than one, have stolen other people's songs, and they redid them. Van Halen, they did a lot of "Where Have All the Good Times Gone." That wasn't written by them. The thing that made them special was that Eddie just tore their songs up and made a new song out of it. So a lot of big bands are like that.
Don't they get sued for that?
Well, see, if you pay royalties, you don't. So a lot of these guys, they'll see. There's publishing. So when you make an album, they have a couple different things. You get paid for performance. So if you performed on that record, you get paid. If you wrote it, you get paid. If you engineered it, you get paid. That's all different segments of writing. So when you actually do a publishing, like I own my publishing. Me, Ken, and our producer own the publishing for my album. So if someone wanted to do one of my songs, they would buy the publishing rights to do that song. That's the legal way to do it. I don't know if the Monkees or any of the bands, I would imagine they all paid the publishing rights. Especially if it's a newer band, if it's a band because music industry is a lot more structured now than it was back when Elvis was playing. So they're really cognizant of people's publishing. And you hear somebody suing somebody because their song is a lot like somebody else's song. So they sue them now for like a lot of the rap stuff. They would take a sample of somebody's song, and they had to make new legislation over who gets paid for that, because you're sampling. You're not playing that. You're sampling that guy doing something and putting that in your song. So what was that song? Wild Thing. That song there, that they didn't play it. They sampled that off of somebody's album and put it in their album. So there became a lawsuit over those things, over people stealing riffs and stuff off somebody else's album, not even playing it. They just stole the whole track and put it on their album. And that led to, there's a lot of songs. Right now they let up on some of that. Now they feel that there are so many songs out that nobody's making anything new. So now they're changing the way that they can claim. Like if someone stole something off of my album, depends how much of it they take. So like if you listen to TikTok, you hear all these songs that that this person did not write that song because it's a famous song. What they're doing is they're taking, like, I won't get in trouble for the Hulk Hogan thing at the end where it played I'm a Real American. Yeah, as long as you're under a certain time, because I got in trouble for all that kind of stuff. Because I still don't know how I got in trouble for that one where a video popped up behind me while we were talking, and they couldn't even see the video, and they couldn't hear the video because it was muted. But yet I got in trouble for that because it was somebody else's material. Well, how can you get me in trouble if you can't see what that video is? I didn't even know what video it was. I had to watch it. And I didn't even after watching it, I didn't know what it was because what's that video clip anyway? So I try to catch them and turn them off. I probably ought to set no pop-ups on this, and that'll stop a lot of that stuff from coming up. But I mean, the laws are all changing because so much stuff is out there now, and a lot of people claim. The funniest thing. You may not know this, but I do know that you know who CCR is. Creedence Clearwater Revival. Okay? And John, what's his name? Fogerty, yeah. So when he left that band, he wrote all the songs that were in CCR. Okay? He wrote that whole catalog of stuff, but he left the band. And then he made okay, that riff. Well, that happened to be used on one of his other songs. They were suing him for stealing his own song. They lost, by the way, but they still tried. That was a recent thing. That was, but there was, they go crazy about that. He had the publishing rights and everything, and they were suing him for his own likeness because he sounded so much like that song. Well, I wonder why. He wrote the song, all the laws are changing on all that stuff because there's so much music out there now, and it's hard to determine if you copied it or not now. So I don't know what some of the new rules are anymore because it's changed a lot over the years. But I do know that it's a little more lax than it was, especially since everybody's using the stuff for TikTok videos and stuff like that. And those are 30-second videos, and they're using real songs that they just clipped off a piece, and they're not being sued for it. They're not yet, anyway. So the answer is it's a changing industry. So I don't know what'll be legal 3 months from now, or even a year from now, or even 2 years from now. So as long as it keeps changing, we're gonna see different things. What else you got?
Let's go to politics for a second.
Okay, I do have a politics section in my notes, so let me open that up just in case.
Yeah, open it up.
See if that's anything that. Okay, here we go. Okay.
What do you got?
What do I have? Hold on, I gotta get my page up. Hold on. Trump administration. Darn it! Why did that do that? Hold on. Trump administration unfreezes billions in educational funding.
Right, he was getting sued, so he did it before he lost the lawsuit.
Oh, that's good. Was that one of your topics?
No.
Okay.
But anyhow, that was a good topic. You can do it.
European deal?
Yeah, that's a big.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Huge.
Let's talk about it.
Well, on the 14th, is it? Or the 15th? Hard to remember.
Okay.
The date because it's moved so many times. But there's going to be this huge tariff slapped on everybody that doesn't have a deal with the United States on trade.
Oh, okay.
So it was an incentive to try to get deals done quickly.
Okay.
So he has worked out a deal with the Europeans.
Yes.
They're going to pay 15% tariff to put anything in the United States, anything. 15% tariff.
So that sounds a lot better than some of them.
35 or 40 or whatever it was going to be.
Right.
And they're going to invest like $600 million in the U.S. economy by building plants in the United States.
Okay. Oh, and yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. $600 billion, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. It's something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, though.
That's a lot of money. And they're going to do $900 billion in trade with us. I hope you get the figures because I'm trying to do mine off of memory. I don't have them.
Here's what I got. I got let's see here. It says, let me see if this brings up the whole thing. Hold on. See if this brings up the whole article or not, because has 3 links on here, so it depends if this is the right link. And if it's not, it's this other one. It says the that's the error tracker. All right, this will probably do it. Okay. All right, it says here. Let me see. I gotta make it bigger. Says here.
On most goods.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make this bigger so that we can read it. Okay, here we go. Says also agrees to purchase $750 billion worth of U.S. energy and invest $600 billion worth of investments into the U.S. Into the current levels. It also said that no, stop that. Said it will impose a 15% tariff on most of the European goods to the U.S., including cars, some products, including aircraft and their components, some chemicals and pharmaceuticals will not be subject to tariffs. And then after a briefing, the agreement was announced. She said that there would be a new 15% tariff rate would not be added to any tariffs already in effect. So, yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, here it is. Here's the thing you're thinking about. Okay, so it says that the 27-member bloc agreed to purchase $750 billion worth of U.S. energy and invest $600 billion worth of the investments to the U.S. Above current levels. He said the bloc would also be purchasing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of military equipment, but did not provide a specific dollar amount. It's a very powerful deal. It's a very big deal. It's the biggest of all deals, Trump said. It's a good deal. It's a huge deal with tough negotiations.
It's the biggest of the... That's Trump.
Yeah, he always has the biggest of everything. But that sounds like a major win.
It's a major win because outside of Mexico and Canada, they're our biggest trading people for.
So anyone that is opposed to these tariffs maybe should take another look at. I mean,
they're working.
Yeah,
they're working.
Apparently, people are thinking about, hey, we want to continue doing business with you.
Now, prices are going to go up in the beginning.
Yes.
I think in June, $27 billion have come in with the tariffs so far. Now that's supposed to go directly to the debt.
Okay.
But some senator wants to give $600 rebates to each and every American to help them pay for the price increases that are coming this year. I don't know how you feel about it, whether you want the rebate or the debt paid down. I would prefer the debt paid down. But $600 is a lot of money, but it's not going to make that big a difference to me.
Right. Is that a one-time 600?
A one-time 600.
Yeah, it's not enough to really. I mean, I don't know.
I'd rather have that $27 billion go down to pay down the debt.
Well, the thing is, that's us, and that's because we see the big picture. But a lot of people, especially people that are in poverty or below,
they're going to look for that $600.
They're going to say, I need that money. I could use that money, and so there are a lot of people that don't think like they think, oh, I could have that money. Yeah, okay. And so, yeah, it's just. That's because how much? What's the debt up again? It's like how many trillion?
30 something trillion.
But he's the first president that actually is doing something about it.
Correct.
And that's.
But people are only going to see the prices in the stores going up.
And we already saw the prices go up with Biden. So now they're going to go up again.
Right. Inflation is down to 3% right now. It was 9 under Biden. It's 3% now, but it's going to go up.
Yeah.
But the long-term implication is that $600 million coming into the United States is supposed to build factories that the products would not be subject to the tariffs.
Okay.
Plus, it would provide jobs for the working class.
Well, and also the deal prevents.
I'm
sorry, what's that?
Good paying jobs.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea, to make these foreign nations put factories, have their plant, put factories in the United States to get out from under the tariffs, which would give employment to Americans. Good employment,
Yeah.
much better than working in McDonald's,
Yeah.
and provide incentives to work and build this manufacturing base back up. And that's the theory. But it could all collapse because people are going to get sick of the Walmart raising their prices and Target raising their prices, and Five Below becoming 10 Below, and because of the tariffs, the price increases during the tariffs. See, so that's why he's threatening to get this done early, because things have to start turning around before the next election cycle.
Right. Because somebody might come in and change it all.
Yes.
Before it gets to actually affect something.
So I have a poll here by a political action committee of the Democrats.
Okay.
Right? And their poll found that Democrats are out of touch, woke, and weak, and have lost credibility since the election. They've lost white men, Hispanic men, and the working class.
And the thing is, they brought it upon themselves. They don't have anybody. They kept this. I want to sound more intelligent than I'm going to sound, but I'm not going to sound intelligent. But the person they wanted to run for president wasn't qualified, and they put all this effort into making her the president when she couldn't have done the job, or at least she wouldn't have done the job. She would have been there. She would have been a figurehead, and that just
Obama would be running the country.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems weird. It's just that's one problem with having a government like ours, because you only have 4 years to show something. And this is a long-term plan.
Yeah, actually, you only have 2 years.
Yeah. And when you think about it, how long did it take us to get in this situation? It took us a long time.
Many decades.
And so I really hope that Trump knows what he's doing, because he's either going to take us to the top or he's going to take us to the bottom. And
because what he's doing is very risky.
Yes. So I hope.
So the Wall Street Journal did a poll with both Democratic and Republican pollsters. So it should be a fair poll. Only 33% of the people that responded to the poll favor Democrats. 2/3 of the country do not favor the Democrats.
Wow.
The voters trusted the Republicans more on the economy, foreign policy, inflation, tariffs, and immigration.
Okay.
So Trump has lost 17 points on immigration.
Okay.
Because when he was only getting drug dealers and murderers and rapists out of the country, 80% of the country was with him. But when he started breaking up families where taxpayers were being sent back, he's lost 17 points.
Yeah.
But he's still 7 points up on the Democrats. The only thing the Dems won was health care and the vaccine policy. That's it. And Republicans are down 11 points overall, but they're still much better than the Democrats on this poll. And that can change tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
So Governor Newsom is running for president. I just want to say 2 things about that, okay? In 2019, when he took over, there was a $21 billion surplus in the bank in California. Jerry Brown, the former governor, left him with $21 billion in a rainy day fund.
That's a big fund.
That's a big fund. Today, the state is $33 billion in debt.
Way to go. Huh.
This is going to be the leader of the Democratic Party.
Oh.
Do you know what the highest tax state in the union is?
California.
California.
Jeez.
So who's the world's richest person?
Elon.
$347 billion. As of 2 weeks ago, it fluctuates a lot. But who's next?
Well, that fluctuates between, because I think the Amazon guy's third.
Amazon's fourth.
Fourth?
Bezos is fourth.
Okay.
It's close.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, and Bezos are all within 20 billion of each other.
Jeez. Wow.
So Zuckerberg's at 258 billion.
So
Ellison's at 250. Zuckerberg's at 258.
Okay.
Larry Ellison of Oracle is 251.
Holy cow.
7 billion under. And then Bezos is 243.
I didn't know Ellison was that far up. I thought there was a foreign guy in there somewhere.
Now here's a guy I doubt that you heard of because I never heard of. He's from Microsoft. He is the originator of Microsoft. His name's Ballmer.
Oh yeah. Steve Ballmer.
Steve Ballmer.
Yeah.
Okay, you know.
Yeah.
I did. He's a paltry 174 billion.
Oh well.
He needs welfare.
Yeah, I was just thinking we could probably get him set up for something. Maybe we can.
He needs food stamps.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, maybe we can get him a job or something. Maybe he could actually go out and do something. All these people want handouts. Let's give him a job. You probably maybe I'll let him have my old Tesla. Oh
Okay,
man.
this is interesting about the Kennedy.
Okay.
I'm going to stop at 9 in 5 minutes, but let me just tell you about the Kennedy. Since 1944, 22 premature deaths have occurred in the Kennedy family.
Okay.
2 assassinations, Bobby and Robert.
Yeah.
All right. 5 by air crashes. 6 by drug overdoses. 4 suicides. And 5 car accidents.
Yeah, those car accidents. They shouldn't be allowed to. They should get full self-driving.
Yes, they should. Do you believe all those deaths in one family?
Yes. It's weird to think about, but that family. The question is, we're never going to know. We're really never going to know what happened, why those things happened, and how many of those things happened because of intervention of somebody, and how many. I mean, we know obviously the shotgun or the shootings. Well, we don't even know that. We don't even know the truth behind that. We don't know if it was back and to the left. We don't know if it was a shot from the library, if it was a shot from the bushes. We don't know any of that stuff. And we're never going to know the truth of that because there were no cameras around that time. And, it was, and who would have driven around in an open car anyway? Who would have thought that would have been an issue? I mean, Lincoln would have said, "Don't you dare." So we're never going to ever really know which of those were legit. So,
right.
And that's sad in a lot of ways, but I don't know. I used to think that Kennedy was something. I don't know how much I believe that Kennedy was a legit good guy, and how much of it was that he.
Well, he cheated on his beautiful wife.
Right. So
multiple times.
Yeah, and maybe she had to hit out on him because of that. You never know. But we're never going to know. We're never going to know. Because the people that were involved in that are probably all dead.
They're all dead.
Because think about it, it's like it's 75 years later or whatever. So I don't know. That I wouldn't want to be a Kennedy.
I wouldn't want to fly in an airplane or drive a car.
Never. If I got an Uber and I say, "Hey, what's your name?" and I saw it's Kennedy, I'd say, "Pull over." You're going across a bridge? Nope, nope, nope. Just, oh man, it's just so weird to think about. So, yeah. So what else you got?
So let's switch stuff. Well, let's go to Iron Maiden because I want to tell you something. I listened to their top 10 songs today.
Okay.
I watched their documentary.
Yep.
I read about them on Wikipedia.
So did I. Yep.
And I have to tell you something. I am not a fan of heavy metal. However, their guitar section is excellent.
Yes. I'm not a fan of them either, but for the style of music that they did or do, there's a reason they were number one in that. And I never really listened to their stuff because it was not really my style either. But if I think about it, and I started listening when they were doing the Breaking the Band, I started really listening. I knew some of their songs, like 666, and that one everyone knows. And that was one of the reasons I never really listened to them, because if you're into that type of thing, okay, you can be into that. I don't care, but that's not my gig. If you're gonna outwardly push that theme, I'm not really interested.
I listen to. I have them on Spotify. You can get the words.
Okay.
And I listen. I listened to the music and I read the words. Or
okay.
I had it played for. And they're very dark.
Yes.
Iron Maiden is very dark.
And it's all because the one guy wrote most of the songs.
Yes.
And that was his gig. He didn't want
Steve Harris.
Yeah, Steve Harris. And actually, I really kind of found it interesting that Steve Harris was as adamant as he was, and no wonder they went through so many different people in that band. Because if you can't make any decisions, I was in that situation a couple years ago where the lead guitarist decided who sang what and decided who did what, and I had no say in it at all. I left that band after 6 weeks. There was no point in me being in it if I have no say. The bands I'm in now are different because it started out pretty much like that, but I think it's now they're listening to what I have to say, and so the thing is, a band cannot survive with one person making a decision, because he's going to make decisions that aren't going to be popular, that affect everybody in the band. Now, one thing about it is that I don't think that that he didn't pay everybody well, but money isn't always everything. So Steve Harris.
There was no hint of a money problem.
Right.
It was a hint of a control problem.
It's all about creativity and all that stuff. So okay, the thing about Iron Maiden was they were number one in what they did. They weren't number one in my eyes as far as that kind of music, but I can see where, by the way, they were also another English band. Think about it. How many English bands did that kind of music that came over here? We didn't have anything like that. And they started a lot younger.
It was all imported.
Yeah, they started a lot younger, or a lot earlier than I thought they did. They started in '75, so right. They were around for a long time, and still around, I guess. They're still playing.
Still playing.
And it's funny how they had a full circle moment, where the singer, he wasn't the original singer, but he came back to the band, and that was kind of cool too, because I really loved his voice. When I listened to his voice, I said, "Wow, he's pretty cool." And I didn't know the story of them because I didn't remember the story of them. I watched that stuff years ago, and when you brought that one up, I thought, I'll watch it, I'll see what happens. And I started watching a little closer this time. Bruce Dickinson was the guy I was thinking of. he was really, really good. Is really good.
Yeah, it was.
And the fact that, and it came down to the same reason I left that other band. He had no say because everybody was doing, everybody was doing, what's his name? Steve Harris's music, and nobody else could write music. And I could totally relate to that because I was in a situation like that. But it's interesting that I didn't know they had that many albums. They had a lot of albums. I know of one, The Number of the Beast. That's the only song that came to mind, and the only album that it came to mind that I knew of. And that was the reason I never really got into their songs.
And that's not really even their best one.
No. And as I was listening to the songs, I thought, oh, this is pretty good. You know what? This isn't. But it's all the same. It's all the same tempo, because that's what Steve Harris wanted. That same tempo. When they tried to deviate from that tempo, he gave them all kinds of hassle. But Dickinson was the second singer, I think, right? I think he was.
Yes.
Yeah, because and he replaced Paul Di'Anno. Paul was good too, but there was a big difference. Dickinson was definitely superior in the vocal department. He could hit a lot of things that many singers can't. And so it was interesting that they had that many albums, though. It says here they sold over have sold over 130 million copies. Now, think about this. Out of all the bands that we've listened to lately, especially, it was 30 million, 40 million. Nobody was doing 130 million.
But they were.
Yeah. And they had 41 albums, 17 studio albums, 13 live albums, 4 EPs, and 7 compilations. That is a whole lot of, you could tell they were making money. They were definitely making money.
The other thing, that face you just showed, go back to that face on the Book of Souls.
Book of Souls, hold on. What are you talking about?
Down to the next paragraph. You see the reference to the Book of Souls? It's on the third line at the right-hand side.
On the right hand side. Oh, okay, over there. Okay.
The Book of Souls. Now, go back to the Book of Souls, which is...
I'm not sure where we're looking here.
Well, just go to an album cover.
Okay. Any album cover.
Same
Okay.
face. It's the same face on every album cover.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Remember that? It's the same guy, and he came out on stage, walking across.
Oh, yeah. On Eddie. You're talking about Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie.
Eddie, yeah. Yeah, Eddie was, the thing is, I knew about Eddie.
That's a good shtick.
Yeah. And I knew about Eddie, and I knew what he looked like, and I just never was in a band that did that music. And I've done some pretty hard stuff. We did Judas Priest, we did, but I've never, this is probably the hardest out there.
Well, and see, some of it offended me because they did a positive thing on child sacrifice.
Okay.
And abortion.
Yeah.
So those two things bothered me, but the rest of it, it's just dark. And for someone who lives in a dark world, I could see where that would hit with them. But if someone was mentally unstable, I hate to say it because I don't want to blame the band. I don't want to ever blame the band. But if you were unstable, that's not good music to listen to.
But keep in mind, one person wrote most of those songs.
Right.
And he was the guy in charge of the band. Actually, I just saw this thing too, which I didn't hear in the production. Iron Maiden recruited another guitarist in 1977, Bob Sawyer, who was sacked for embarrassing his band on stage by pretending to play guitar with his teeth. It's good they didn't try to hire Jimi Hendrix, because he invented that kind of thing. Plus he's dead, but yeah, I didn't realize they were around since 75. That kind of threw me off because I thought they were new ish, around the late 70s.
And the documentary did not say that they struggled in the beginning. They seemed to take off pretty quick and achieve some type of status.
Yeah, well, it was, but that was, it's like the Steve, he's from that industrial area.
Right.
Nobody had
That's
money.
So many bands are.
Right, especially in England. All the big bands that were, we didn't do Def Leppard, did we?
No, not yet.
We probably ought to, we could also probably, when we run out of breaking the band, is just pick a band and look at the Wikipedia page, because they have everything on there. And because there are bands that I definitely want to talk about that aren't on there. But yeah, to me, it's kind of funny to watch this and realize, like, the one guy in this band, Dickinson, came from basically a middle class.
A middle class.
And
yeah, he went to private school.
Right. To me, that's above middle class, but because I didn't go to a private school. And that's an interesting thing to have him in that band. And the songs he was writing probably were a lot different from the songs that the other guys.
Didn't he want to change the tempo?
Yeah.
He wanted to do some radio play.
Yeah, and he's the guy that talked him into doing that. But yeah, the other guy didn't want to do that, and so it was really, that's why they had so much tension in that band, because nobody else was allowed to make a decision. And Dickinson was the first guy that actually, when you got creative people fighting over, it's tough when you get a bunch of them, because like something I'm going to tell you after all this music stuff is done, I just thought of that I didn't put in my notes. Actually, I better do that now. Go ahead, talk some.
Well, the one thing I was wondering about is they didn't do radio. Their songs were too long and too hard.
Right. Yes.
For most radio.
Yes.
What was the station out of York when we were in our 20s?
Oh yeah, 105.7. What was it called? The mountain, not the mountain. The X. The X, wasn't it?
No, I think it was before that.
Before the X was. It's the same place.
It's the same station.
Yeah.
They played albums.
Yes.
They would play whole albums on Saturday night, and I think at 10 o'clock they put on entire albums.
Yeah.
And it's where you went to listen to real hippie music, or in my day, and later more hard stuff.
I think it was called the Mountain.
That's the only place.
It was a Mountain or something like that. It was
something I don't remember anymore. But that's the only place Iron Maiden could be played, because they intentionally did not do radio stuff.
Right, and even though the band wanted to, minus Steve, they were thinking it was a sellout if you did that, and that's not how it works. You have to get out there and get known, because you can only be underground for so long. But yeah, I mean, England was truly where heavy metal started. Everyone wants to take credit for it, but really, when you think about it, think of all the bands that Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Def Leppard, Iron Maiden, all these bands are just loud, just very loud and very hard and very, very fast. Not as melodic as a lot of the other bands, but Dickinson was melodic, and that's what made that band even better, was that he could sing and he could carry a tune and make it sound good.
The singer after him?
Yes, he was good
Nobody
too.
liked, because he could not hold.
Right.
He could not hit the range of Dickinson.
That's the problem. When you have a guy like that, you can't replace him. And one of the things I think is funny is that I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit, but for the last two bands I've auditioned for, they were blown away by what I was doing, and I'm better now than I was when I joined them. So, it's tough to replace a very good singer like Dickinson. I couldn't replace him. I mean, he even said, I had to take some time off because I didn't want to sing every night because and if you don't sing right, you can't do that. You can't go every night like that. Def Leppard had that problem where where the guy was singing and losing his voice, and they had to take days off between jobs because, if you're not singing right or you're straining your voice, you're in trouble. So that's why I'm kind of happy where I'm at right now, because for the first time in all the times I've been singing, I think I have the best control of my voice now. And a lot of guys at this age would be not able to sing anymore because they smoked too much or whatever it was, strained their voice. There were times when I was younger where I couldn't sing because after a certain period of time, I couldn't sing. I don't feel that that's the case now. I know if I hit a certain note, if we have to do that song a couple times, it's going to be harder for me to sing. So I always tell them, put that at the end of the night. If we're gonna practice this a couple times, I don't want to start with that song, but I will end with that song. But if you start with that song, I may not be able to sing the rest of the stuff because, like Foreigner, we're doing Feels Like the First Time. I can sing that song once, maybe twice, but if we're doing it over and over again, there's a couple parts of that song just a little bit high, and so I could understand Dickinson because, well, that's some of the stuff is really hard to sing. I don't think I could sing it, so that's just my opinion. Yeah. All right. See what else we got on here. Oh, that's funny. A new lineup was okay. So it says here about a new lineup, including future Cutting Crew member Tony Moore on keyboards. Cutting Crew. I can't imagine a member of Cutting Crew playing in this band because Cutting Crew is just a mellow kind of like a Boy George type of band where that's the type of music they're doing. You hear them.
That's a big stretch.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Stretch.
Oh yeah, what else let's see. Turbulent. Okay, so it says after some turbulence in the 1990, the return of vocalist Dickinson and guitarist Adrian Smith. So when they brought Adrian Smith and Bruce Dickinson and played them, that really changed the band and to the better because they then had three guitarists, if I'm not mistaken, at that point.
Yes, they had three guitars. Their guitars are great. I listened to, my favorite song was, let me get this back open, was The Trooper.
Okay, yeah, that was one of their really powerful songs.
And the guitars on there were excellent.
Yeah, when you get guys that play in sync like that together,
yes.
and that's
you
one.
If you don't listen closely, you can't tell it's two guitars. You
right.
just think it's a fabulous guitar.
Well, that's why I like Def Leppard because their guitars play in sync with each other, and I really enjoy the way they play together. I don't feel that they play in competition with each other, but they probably do. I don't know. All right, let's see what else we got here. I had some other things I noted on that stuff. By 81, Paul Di'Anno was demonstrating increasingly erratic behavior, particularly due to his drug usage, which Di'Anno comments, it wasn't just that I was snorting a bit of cocaine, though I was going for nonstop, 24 hours a day, every day. The band had commitments piling up for months, years, and I couldn't see my way to the end of it. I knew I wouldn't last the whole tour It was too much. So Di'Anno was dismissed for the Killing War tour, with the band already having selected the replacement, which was Dickinson. That's when Dickinson came in. So they probably saved that guy's life by replacing him because he was doing so many drugs. Then it says in '82, the drummer Clive Burr was fired from the band and was replaced by Nico McBrain, who previously played for Trust. Although Harris said dismissal took place because of his live performances were affected by offstage activities. Burr later claimed he was unfairly ousted from the band. Says Somewhere in Time, that's the Iron Maiden album, and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Returning from their time off, the band had added different musical elements. That's when they added the keyboards, right? Yeah. Somewhere in Time, these focused on synthesized bass and guitars as textures and layers of sound. The release.
It's hard to understand a heavy metal band with synthesized sound.
But in that time they had come out with these new synthesizers, and I remember when they came out, I believe it was a G70. It was a guitar that it was built specifically for synth guitar, and it looked like it had a guitar neck, had strings, and it had, you played it like a guitar. It's just that you had switches that you could change the sounds, and that was a big thing back in that time. It was everybody was experimenting with it. You don't see much of it today because the synthesizers are really built into your computer now. Our band ran on all synthesized everything. Our drums were synthesized. You couldn't tell. Our bass synthesized. Our lead guitar was synthesized. Our synthesizers were synthesized. Actually, originally when the band was started, in my case, when Ken and I first started doing this, we took and sampled one note of a bass, and it became our bass. That one note transposed on the keyboard, and we played for probably 5-6 years with that bass sound till we found other bass sounds, because we were exploring that stuff, and that stuff changed quickly. And at the end, we didn't have any keyboards to carry around except keyboards that didn't make any sounds. They were just controllers. And all the keyboards, all the sounds, the drums and everything were played on the keyboards. It's a really intense thing when you get down to it. The business has changed so much and has had so much in the technology changing. I can't imagine them being synthesized and adding those textures, because the music I've heard from them has been straightforward rock and roll, heavy rock and roll. In '93, Dickinson left the band to pursue a solo career, but agreed to remain for a farewell tour and 2 live albums.
That didn't go very well.
Yeah, the guy that replaced him was the guy you're talking about. His name was Blaze Bayley, from Iron Maiden, frontman 94 to 99. So he was there for 5 years. I don't know how he made it through those 5 years, but, let's see, after a 3-year hiatus, a record from the band at a time, they released their next album, X Factor. Let's see here. In '99, Adrian Smith rejoined Iron Maiden in '99, resulting in a 3-guitar lineup. That's what we were talking about. The band entered into talks with Dickinson, who agreed to rejoin the band during a meeting in Brighton in '99, along with guitarist Adrian Smith. who was telephoned a few hours later. So, yeah, that's are they even, they're playing out yet, right? They're still around, right?
Let's look.
Oh yeah,
Here.
here's
14,
2023.
2015 to present, latest album and tours.
Yeah. So that band has been around, geez, for a long time. And they had to be making some big dollars on some of these things. Let's see here.
Yeah, they're still touring in 25.
That's crazy. But you know, it's
50th
really,
anniversary.
you know, it's really truly not a work if you really enjoy doing it. It's truly. I mean, the worst thing about it is having to. Well, I mean, the nice thing about their band is they don't have to set up and tear down. They probably have people to do that. And by the way, the Bruce Dickinson reminded me, and it even actually talks about it in here, of Ian Gillan. Ian Gillan was one of my favorite vocalists, but it says here he has an operatic vocal style inspired by. Do you remember Arthur Brown?
Yeah.
He did this song that goes. Something about hellfire. He goes, I bring you fire. Da-da-da. I want you to burn. Da-da-da. It's an old song. Anyway, that's his song. Peter Hamill, Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson was from the Jethro Tull. Ian Gillan. They're often considered the best, and I consider them some of the best vocalists out there. But I will tell you that I believe after listening to his vocals, he may be the best heavy metal singer. So he definitely rates up there anyway.
Well, I do know, I have to be honest with you, when I was listening to a couple of their songs, especially Trooper, my head was banging.
Yeah.
It's the natural instinct.
Sure.
With their music.
They're definitely one of a kind. And it's funny, it's good we didn't start with them, because we would have been disappointed with the rest of the heavy metal guys that we did. But no, they're a lot different too, because if you take a Twisted Sister, okay, there's another band that took old songs and rehashed them. These guys are writing their own music, and you do tend to get a lot of stuff sounding the same when you write your own music, but they are probably the number one heavy metal guys out there, and they consistently.
Well, they were criticized by critics that their albums sounded the same, but that was their genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what their fans wanted.
Well, I mean, you give the guys what they want, and the thing is, once you start writing types of music like that, there's only so many places you can go with that speed sound and that heavy sound. But people wanted it. People were buying it. 130 million albums.
That's right.
You can't deny that. These guys.
Can't deny it.
Nowadays, you won't get 130 million albums because nobody sells albums or CDs anymore, or tapes. It's all, streaming, or if you buy a song, you're buying a song, not an album. So,
or you're pirating off of YouTube.
Well, YouTube, when you're listening to YouTube, they still get paid by streams. So, where you were getting probably 7 cents an album before per song, you may only get 2 cents per stream, but you're going to have a whole lot more streams. Because they're when I pay my money for streaming from YouTube, I can play as many songs as I want, and I don't get charged for it. Whereas if I bought, I'm listening. I'm really enjoying that streaming of YouTube because I can listen virtually any album I want on the audio, and it's I'm paying $13-14 a month, and it eliminates all commercials. To me, that's worth it right there, just to eliminate the commercials. That's the reason I paid the extra to get Peacock or the extra to get Max or HBO Max. So, yeah.
Well, The Trooper, their #1 song on Spotify.
Okay.
It's 5,536,444,386 plays. At 2 cents a play, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I just speculated that might be the cause.
You know what I mean? That's a lot of money because they're so popular.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
But the part now, Spotify's more expensive than YouTube.
Spotify.
But the reason is because you get the words with it.
Yeah, you get the words with it on Amazon Music too.
Yeah.
I use it like when I'm driving somewhere. I'll have it up, and when I put full self-driving on, I'll look at the lyrics and try to memorize lyrics while I'm driving. So, pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we covered them pretty good.
Okay. I want to tell you a project I started yesterday. Well, no, maybe the day before. So, I write scripts.
Mm-hmm.
I thought of another script that I want to think about doing. And this goes with the school. I'm going to do a script where I'll probably be a former wrestler and musician. Boy, I'm really creative, aren't I?
And you really go out there with your imagination.
Yeah, it's hard to think of me doing that. And then my son is.
No, there you go. That's imagination.
Is going to be played by Johnny Kashmere, who is the guy that actually is our driving our head teacher and stuff at the school, and he's also probably more well known than any of us in that area. I would say in some areas I'm better known, but in Philly and New Jersey and in that, he's better known than I am. Anyway, he's going to be my son, and he's going to be a bipolar son. So, like, for instance, he'll come home, and I'll be watching TV, and he'll come home and complain about all these things. First of all, he's 40 years old. Why should he be living with me at that age? But in the wrestling business, it's possible. Anyway, he'll be mouthing off about something, and I'll be, yeah. I'm trying to watch the TV. He's walking in front of the TV. And then at the end, when he gets done complaining, I'm going to go off on some kind of learning thing, saying, sometimes it's, you got to do this and that and come up with this thing. It'll have nothing to do with what he just spouted about because I wasn't listening. And anyway, I see all kinds of things that could happen with that. And I thought I'll make Amadeus maybe my other son, and and he'll be more stable than this one. We'll just kind of play off of each other, but we can set up the one room as a living room in the school. So it'll always be the same. And then we'll shoot wrestling scenes at the school, which is the other room. And we'll just play things off of that. I can do all kinds of things with that. So I talked to Johnny about it yesterday, and I talked to Tony about it yesterday, and they both not yesterday, Sunday, and they both liked the idea. So I think, and we have a production facility there for videoing things, so we'll actually be able to make the stuff there. So I think that's going to be a good project.
That sounds pretty. A lot of possibilities.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll get off the ground. I think I gotta sit down.
But you'll enjoy, right?
Well, I gotta sit down and we came up with what was it called? Wait a minute, I gotta look at my AI because I had AI come up with a bunch of names for the show. Let me see where we put it at. Here it is, TV show. I had to come up with a bunch of names for the show because I couldn't. I personally thought I made one of my own called 2 Out of 3 Falls. I thought that would be a cool name for a show. But Tag Me In, Second Fall, Bloodline Blues, Work the Gimmick, From the Top Rope, and Kayfabe and Kim. So which one do you think out of those that Johnny wanted?
I like the top rope.
He wants Work the Gimmick. And that would be okay. I think the one that I came up with, 2 Out of 3 Falls, would be more interesting. But
Well, that's why I picked top the rope, because that's sort of more aligned with wrestling.
yeah. Well, I mean, Work the Gimmick. That
To
is.
me, that's the most fun, athletic, and not just plain fun aspect of a wrestling match is when they go to the top of the rope.
Do you know what Work the Gimmick means?
The dive through the air. It's incredible to me.
Do you know what Work the Gimmick means?
No.
Okay, so let's say Undertaker. Okay, Undertaker always worked his gimmick. In other words, if you came up to Undertaker, whether or not he was working, whether or not he was, if you came up to him in anytime you saw him, even if it wasn't a wrestling event, he would be the Undertaker. That's working the gimmick. It's he wouldn't be a regular person. He would always be the Undertaker as a gimmick. So that's what Work the Gimmick is. I kind of like that, but I thought.
Yeah, that'll work too.
Yeah. Any of those would have worked pretty good. So, but anyway, I told the AI what it was going to be about and told him that there was going to be a mental health thing, and he came up with mental health themes too, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I didn't do anything else with it, but I kind of thought it's got potential, I think, because they had a show. Did you ever watch Green Arrow? The series? Well, there was this guy named Stephen Amell. He was the Green Arrow for 7 years. He was in good shape. Still is. I've seen him on American Ninja Warrior. They had a celebrity version of it. He's the only guy that made it from the beginning to the end of that. And I thought that was really cool. But he had a show a couple years ago called, I can't remember what it was called, but it was about wrestling, about independent wrestling. Actually, Mick Foley made a couple appearances on it, and so did CM Punk. And it got canceled, unfortunately, after the second season because of COVID. And it was actually a good show, and he did a lot of pretty cool things in that show. So anyway, I'd like to try to base it on independent wrestling rather than WWE. So we'll see if it happens. We'll see if we can get it going. But I think if things go well, we could actually have something working there. So, all right. Anyway, all right. You got anything else you want? Chosen. Oh, yeah. Yes, let's do Chosen because we have one right here, actually. Let me bring it up here. All right. By the way, they have a Wikipedia. Someone explained to me, and I didn't know. I don't think you explained it to me. Remember, at the end of the first season, this one guy left. Do you know why he left?
No, I don't.
He went to fight in the war over. I'm thinking the Israeli war. I think it was. He went over to fight there for 18 months.
He was a Jew?
I guess so.
He was in the reserves and got called up.
Yep. Is that crazy? Do you also
that's...
Huh?
Well, it makes sense because when you're called up, you got to go.
Yep. And do you know where they filmed?
Morocco?
No, you were wrong. First season, Texas.
Texas.
Texas. Second season, Utah. And I think third on up was back to Texas. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
I would have never, ever, ever in my wildest dreams thought that was it. But that was stuff I found out. I don't know how I found that out. I think maybe I found it out here. Might have been on here. The reason that I found the other thing out from Johnny, because he's actually he's up on that stuff. He was going to be a minister. He has all the accolades to be one. He just needs to get a certification or whatever you got to do to to be a minister. But he has all the. He was going to be a Catholic minister, and they turned him down because he's gay. So
of course,
yeah, but he's a really good guy. Anyway, that's where we are on that. All right, so this was season 2, episode 2. Oh, here it is, season 2. Oh, this is why I know this. I got this information from ChatGTP. They told me where it was from. Season 2 moved to filming in Utah County, Utah, to replicate the Jerusalem movie set built by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The set was originally built to authentically replicate most of the primary locations of the ancient city in order to film scenes for the LDS Latter-day Saints Church Bible and Book of Mormon videos. As part of the LDS Motion Picture Studios South Campus, the sets used by The Chosen marks the first time a production not affiliated with the LDS Church has been allowed to film there. Filming occurred during October and November of 2020, commenting on how much of the Utah desert resembles the Holy Land. Dallas Jenkins said that they could not recreate it anywhere else. You can't even get this in Israel. Being filmed in COVID-19 created challenges for the production for season 2. 2,000 extras were used for filming in the Sermon of the Mount scene, all of whom were required to obtain a negative PCR test prior to filming. Safety precautions such as multiple testing and proper PPE kits for the cast and crew members were also applied. Following COVID-19 protocols increased the production cost by an additional $750,000. Anyone arriving on set had to be tested in advance, and upon arrival, longer meal breaks were required, and all hair and makeup stations had to be sanitized regularly. Jenkins indicated that the production experienced fewer than 5 positive cases during filming. So, that was from here. That was from the Wikipedia. So this episode 2 for season 2, they introduced. The episode centers on the call of Nathaniel and the introduction of Philip, while exploring Matthew's struggle to belong among the disciples. So the whole time, Matthew's been like, not really sure why he was there, because everyone hated him.
Right.
And,
everybody hated him.
Yeah, except Jesus. But the other people didn't understand, and it was kind of funny that I thought, well, that's interesting that they brought him along. And then I got it. I understood why. Exactly why is you're supposed to love everyone, and you're supposed to take care of everyone. And he wasn't a bad person. It was just, that was his job, and he was doing his job. And I kind of thought
he was a seller.
Yeah.
He took the money.
Right.
He took the money and the position.
Yeah, I would have too.
Well, but see, that would have made you an outcast.
Yeah, I've been an outcast all my life anyway. So to me, that would be just every day. That would be my normal, because I've always been an outcast, not because I wanted to
But
be.
did you see in a couple scenes they were throwing urine and
Yes,
and poop on them?
yes. Nathaniel was a different thing because he was like, I guess his family was basically workers, and he was an architect, and apparently he didn't do it very well. Apparently.
No, it didn't work out very well.
And so I understand that failure and brokenness, but it led to his eventual humility, and I found that interesting. Trying to remember what else we know about Philip.
Well, Philip was John the Baptist's disciple,
Okay,
and John the Baptist lived off of locusts and honey and a few other things.
okay.
And being his disciple was rougher than being Jesus' disciple.
Okay.
So when he came to Jesus, he took a step up in his living standards.
That's kind of like
if
a promotion.
If you remember when he came in and Andrew met him and hugged him and said, "Boy, you stink."
Yeah. But they didn't bathe every day in that time.
No, and they didn't change clothes every day.
Right.
But there was a certain level of stink, I guess, that was unacceptable.
I can understand that.
Yeah, so he was sent by John the Baptist to join Jesus. So he was much more advanced in his understanding of being a disciple. He was much more advanced in his understanding of the purpose of the ministry. He was much more advanced in understanding who Jesus really was. He was much more. He was just much more advanced, and he is talked about a lot in Scripture.
Okay.
He has a more prominent place than many of the other disciples. So, some disciples they're listed in the book, but you never hear about them.
Okay.
Right. So, what did you think of? I think it was in episode 2 where Mary and Rima wanted to learn Torah. Was that in this? And they went to Matthew to try to help them learn about the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament.
I think it was. I watched this 2 weeks ago, so I don't really remember what it was, but I think that was in this one.
Well, women weren't allowed to read Torah. They weren't allowed to go to school.
What is Torah?
They weren't allowed to learn to read.
What is Torah?
Right?
What is Torah?
So women didn't read and they didn't learn Torah.
What is Torah?
What?
What is Torah?
Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible.
Okay. All right.
Which a good Jewish boy could recite most of it by heart. So remember scenes where they get around and Philip would start something, and then all the disciples that were there would join in and recite it perfectly in unison.
Okay.
Because you memorize it.
Okay,
you
so
that's it for the rest of your life.
Which, like, I went to do you remember Gia? She was a little girl that was like 2 feet tall that was going to school with us.
No.
Okay. Well, she was Catholic, and I went to her wedding, and it drove me crazy because a lot of times people would talk, like they would talk in unison, and I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. And I don't think they were speaking English, actually. But yeah, is that the kind of thing you were talking about, where everybody talks in unison?
Well, yeah, they would learn to read by reading the Torah.
Okay.
That's how you learn to read, would be reading the Bible.
Okay.
And so when one person would start to recite scripture, everybody else could recite the same scripture.
Is that what catechism is?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. I had a friend that went to, well, an acquaintance that had to go to catechism class or whatever it was, and I didn't know
That's
what
an
it.
introduction to the faith.
Okay. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it's good. I went through catechism when I was 13 because in the Methodist Church you went when you were 13 years old, and that at that point you could become a full adult member
Oh.
of the church after you went through catechism.
Okay.
So supposedly you got saved when you went through catechism.
Okay.
And that's the theory, I didn't get saved when I went through catechism, and I didn't know too many people that did, but that's the theory.
Okay.
You learn about Christ, and it is there where you accept Him as your Lord and Savior.
Okay.
And everybody prays a prayer, and it's supposed to hit and stick.
Okay. It says here that John 1:43-51, Jesus calls Philip, who finds Nathanael and invites him. At first, Nathanael doubts. Can anything good come from Nazareth? But Jesus says he saw Nathanael under a fig tree, prompting Nathanael's confession. Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel.
That's all it took for him to say, I saw you.
Yeah. I remember that because I thought that was.
I didn't turn my face.
Yeah. And here's another.
And that's in Scripture.
Yes. And then Ezekiel 39:9-10. They shall make fire of them. They will not take wood from the field or gather firewood, for they shall use the weapons. It's quoted by the disciples around the campfire.
Yes. And they had that memorized.
Yeah. The third one was Psalm 102, 1-2. Nathanael's desperate under the fig tree mirrors these verses. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Do not hide your face from me. Incline your ear to me. So that's some kind of symbolism or something.
Well, it is desirable that when you talk to the Lord, you quote Scripture back to Him.
Okay.
It is desirable that you know Scripture that well that you can use it like that. Most people don't pray like that, but that is the desired thing to do.
Okay.
Is to know Scripture well enough that you can throw it back at Him and say, look, this is what you said, Lord. I'm asking for the same thing.
It says here that fig tree symbolism, it says here in the Gospel of John, Jesus sees Nathanael under the fig tree, signals divine insight into his character and brokenness, and serves as his catalyst for Nathanael's faith. Then Ezekiel's moment, the disciples' recitation highlights their hunger for Scripture and positions them as participants in a narrative of spiritual restoration and divine judgment. And then in Matthew's journey, his feeling of isolation expressed through the drawn circle speaks to the power of belonging once one encounters Jesus. See, I'm more prepared than you're used to.
Did you enjoy the second episode?
Yeah, actually I did. Yeah, it was. I see a lot of things coming together that, in the first, they had to establish the characters in the first set, and they had to basically build what they're going towards, and now it's starting to come to fruition what their goals are and how everything that happens builds from that. So I kind of found it interesting. So these segments might be good for the smaller clips too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if anybody else is doing that, but us analyzing this could be good for people like me that don't know what's going on.
Most of them are like for Bible studies of already Christians who go to church and they accept the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker. I got a book right here, Mike, that I use in Bible study. It's written for believers. There's nothing out there that's written for people that are struggling with religion.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing out there that I have found for people that are going like, I don't know if I understand this or not.
Well, I mean, it's complicated because they talk in parables, and so if you aren't following what they're talking about, you're going to get confused easily.
Yes.
So I've found that between the Wikipedia, between ChatGTP, and watching the episode, I pretty much am understanding it a lot better than I would have if I just watched the episode. The episode definitely can you're not exactly sure where you're going with it. And when I do all three, I centered what is going on and what I'm supposed to be seeing as the main principal thing. So yeah, it's a good way for me to learn because I don't like to sit and read. I'm not a big reader, and I've never been a big reader. But if I can watch it and then read afterwards, okay, it makes sense to me what they were trying to achieve. So yeah, I'm happy with it. So next week we'll go to 3.
What group do you want to do next week?
Let me see what we have as choices. Let me take a look at the entertainment section. All right, so let's see. We did Poison, so that one's done. Let's see, we did. Okay, so we have Genesis. Did we do? We didn't do Whitesnake, right?
I don't remember Whitesnake.
Okay, so the only one left in season 3 is Whitesnake and Genesis. Season 4. Wait, let me highlight this before I forget. That way we can get that. Okay, so Judas Priest. We didn't do Def Leppard. We didn't do the Scorpions. I think we did. Did we do Foreigner?
Yeah, we did Foreigner.
Okay.
Maybe not.
I'm trying to remember if we did. I mean, I'm taking your word for it because I don't remember.
I don't remember. I really don't remember either.
I'd have to look at the. Okay, so I know. Okay, we did. Let me put these 2 down here because we did those 2 and I didn't mark them. And I need to see if we can get. I need to get you to the other first half of the season. I got to figure out where else they are. I think there's a place online that has all of these because I can't remember the website off the top of my head, but I believe there's a website that does all that has it, so we can hopefully see the rest of them. So if we can't do any on the first 2, we still have Genesis, Whitesnake, Def Leppard. I don't remember if we did Bon Jovi. Scorpions, and Foreigner. So
Which one would you like to do? Jeff Leopard?
I'm good with Leopard. That would be a good one.
Okay.
I like
We'll
Def
do Def
Leppard.
Leppard.
They're actually
We'll do
out
Def
of
Leppard.
those, they're probably my favorite out of all of those.
Okay. We'll do that.
Sounds good to me. Now I think there was something else I wanted to say about something. I don't remember. I gotta look to see what it was. It was something that happened because of my notes here. Here it is. Oh, so Uber's rolling out a new feature that allows women riders to connect with women drivers, which I think is a good idea.
For safety.
Yes, because I mean, it hasn't happened a lot, but we have heard some things about, guys being guys, and I could see that as being a pretty good thing. So that was a neat thing that I had read. I wanted to say something about that. Here's something. What's your views on the Kiss Cam?
Well, not my view that there's a problem. It's a certain CEO and his HR director.
Yes, exactly. Kristen Cabot's resignation as chief people or officer, CPO. I don't know what that. I've never heard that before.
Chief People Officer. It's a new title for HR.
Okay, at a technology company came days after CEO Andy Bryan resigned. The two executives were caught on the Jumbotron having an intimate moment at a Coldplay concert in Boston. Jeez, there's no chance of getting away with that.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah. I think that it's really.
Did you see him die?
Do you know that no one would have known about it if they just didn't say anything about it? I mean, that's just crazy.
If they'd acted naturally,
yeah,
nothing would have happened.
Yeah, it's just.
But their guilt. God, the word says that your sin will find you out, and that's exactly what happened to them.
Jeez. And also a couple weeks ago, stratosphere skydiver Felix Baumgartner dies in a paragliding crash. Known as Fearless Felix, the former Austrian military parachutist became the first skydiver to surpass the speed of sound, reaching 843 miles per hour during a more than 24-mile free fall over New Mexico in 2012. The feat sets. Wait a minute. No, that's in 2012. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. The feat sets records for the highest manned balloon flight as well as the highest and fastest jump in a free fall. Australian officials confirmed that Baumgartner's death Thursday after reports of a paragliding crashing into a swimming pool in the city of Porto Sant Elpidio. He was 56. Could you imagine free falling for 24 miles? I mean, that's 843 miles or miles per hour. That's crazy. Those guys that do that stuff, I don't know why they do it. I don't know. I can't imagine.
I don't have that kind of fearlessness.
Chevron wins a dispute with Exxon Mobil over Hess Guyana oil assets. Chevron has finalized its $53 billion acquisition of energy company Hess, securing 30% stake in over 11 billion barrel equivalents of oil and natural gas reserves off Guyana. A small nation of South America's North Atlantic coast. The deal had been in limbo for nearly 2 years due to a contractual dispute brought by Chevron's larger rival ExxonMobil. The Paris-based International Chamber of Commerce ruled in Chevron's favor, clearing the way for the merger. That's just $53 billion acquisition. I mean, there's things going on here that we'll never understand. So, let's see, we done? It is after 10. All right. I just want to get some of those things out of the way because some of those are time sensitive. So, lastly, so I don't think I told you this, or maybe I did. My lease is up on my car in October, and Tesla called me and said, "I'm here to set up your new car." I said, "Well, what new car?" "Well, your lease is up, and we thought you'd want a new car." I said, "Well," I said, "I'm not going to buy one right now." And they said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Because I want to look around and see what's going to happen here with the next wave of Teslas, because there are things, they were supposed to upgrade the X, which is what I have, and the upgrade in X isn't what I want. I want range." And so we were talking about it, and he said, "Well," I said, "I could go to another Tesla in the thing, but I really want range. Range is important. That's the most important thing in an EV." And after I talked to him, I got an article here, and this is an interesting article. Lucid breaks the Mercedes EV record, 749 miles to a charge. Now, in all fairness, not every time that you charge it, you're going to get 749 miles. Its actual range is supposed to be 516 or something. It's around 500, 547 or something. I don't know what it is. It's around 500. So I called up the guy I wrote the guy an email saying, "Look, I'm looking at Lucid now because of the range of that car, because I want range." They kept promising us we were going to get 400 miles, 450. That was what was supposed to come out with the new X, the Model X, and they aren't doing that now. So now I'm looking at Lucid. They've got a pretty nice car, and they also have they have a car similar to what I have, the Model X, that will get 450 miles to the charge. And I can get it probably cheaper than my car. I was paying a lot of money for this car because they kind of stuck me in a contract at almost $1,700 a month. And I want to get a lot less now that I have a school I have to worry about. So they're doing deals with Lucid right now where they're able to do the same price range as my X for $850 for a lease. Because they're doing deals, they're doing crazy deals just to get them out there. So I'm actually looking at a Lucid. Not so sure if I would go for a Lucid, but I'm looking at it. I might have to go that route. So anyway, that's the end. I just wanted to make sure I said the things.
You leaving Tesla, that's a big deal.
I really feel weird about leaving Tesla, but the thing is, Tesla left me high and dry with that. I mean, $1,680 a month is a lot of money. And my last lease was not anywhere near that. My last lease was $1,000. So that's a big difference. It's almost twice as much. So that kind of led me to second think what I was thinking. So I'm still not sure. I noticed that last night I was watching videos on YouTube. There's supposedly a van coming out. They didn't have anything on the website yet, and I can't find anything on it other than the picture that they showed of these possible things that are coming out. So if they get a van that gets, it's supposed to have 600 miles to charge. They get a van that gets 600 miles to charge, I'm in. So I'd like to have a van because, I mean, when I get stuck doing a thing in New York, I can sleep in a van comfortably. I mean, I slept in the X comfortably, but it'd be nice to sleep in a van because I'm used to vans.
Oh, yes, you are. You're the original van man.
Yes, I am.
You
All
had
right.
a van earlier. You had a van before you had a driver's license.
Actually, I had a 66 Plymouth Fury before I had my driver's license. I was 15 when I bought that. I got it so cheap. I got it for $50. So, you know. All right. I guess I'll talk to you next week.
I'll talk to you next week.
And
Good show, Mike.
I think we had a pretty good show.
Yep.
So that's been a consistent thing with us, I think. But, anyway, all right. Talk
Take
to you
care.
next week, I think. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay.